hashtag freshlypressed981 and tag us up on Twitter. We are at smooth981FM and we are streaming live up on youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. So you can go over there, you can watch the live stream, and please go ahead and leave your comments up on YouTube. Now, the story that we're still going to be focusing on and still comes as a result of Monday night's attack on the Abuja Kaduna train route at Dutse Village. Let's take a look at this article, which is from this day newspaper. Buhari meets security chiefs over Kaduna train attack. Now, the president was briefed by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, and surface chiefs, as well as the Inspector General of Police, amongst other top military about the attack by terrorists on the Kaduna bound passenger train. Now, Devo, I would love to come to you for your thoughts on this because, of course, we've seen that lives have been lost, people have been kidnapped. The president also urged them to make sure that they find and they rescue all those who had been kidnapped. But this secure the lives and properties of Nigerians because we're living in a. It seems like we're just living in a heightened state of insecurity right now. Devo, what would you say about this?
Yeah, and I want to question what you just said in the sense that
Okay.
is there really outrage?
There, you know what?
Is there really outrage?
So that is something that we had spoken about yesterday's during yesterday's freshly pressed, which is this kind of how it seems like it's been normalized, the
Yes.
normalization of insecurity in the country, and a tamping down of people's emotions because once you are hit left, right, and center by the news, but the outrage is growing and growing. You are seeing people coming out talking about this, asking why, and asking what we can do about it.
Yes. Now, this story, like I mean, we've let me put it this way. Here we go again. Here we go again. And let's just read the story, and it's no different. In this case, the president comes out yesterday. He spoke to the gathering of security chiefs, okay, and a few ministers and agency heads about one releasing those that were kidnapped, arresting the terrorists, and bringing them to justice, and that nobody should be able to bring Nigeria to its knees. That the federal government will not bow to anybody. That what happened was a matter of grave concern. We're referring to the terrorist attack on the train on the Abuja Kaduna routes. Now, he did say that they should conclude the integrated surveillance monitoring solution, which the Minister of Transport was speaking to, that it hadn't been approved. Some would call that a little late in the day. And then he asked the NRC to quickly repair the damaged portions to return the train operations back to normalcy. But you see, as he's given these orders, first thing that comes to my mind is, can you order the lives and those injured back? Can you?
Mm.
Can an order bring back a dead soul or an injured person?
Of course,
You
it
know,
can't. But
thinking about some of those that we lost, especially the dear dental dentist that lost her life. Now, the chief of defense staff, that General Irabor, was saying on his initial inspection that the terrorists had planted IEDs along the tracks, which derailed the train and obviously led to the dastard ambush. And once again, like I said, are we really outraged? We've seen this before. This is beyond deja vu, right? How does it work? I mean, how does this happen that we do this all the time? It's like a four-step track. One, you have the dastard incidents, right?
mm,
Be it kidnapping of people, innocent girls and women, abduction in one place or the other, attacks, herdsmen attacks, terrorist insurgency. And then number two, the president comes out, calls his security chiefs. Track three, he gives marching orders in all manner of rhetoric and narratives. And then track four, we see inadequate activity, and then we go back to track one. We
now, one
press
thing that
replay.
I do want to say is, and there was news that came out. This is barely
Mm.
24 hours after the attack on
Yes.
the train of an attack at a rail station,
At the
Gideon
same
station,
within
along the
Kaduna
same
also.
line.
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously, it didn't start today. Let's just say that ever since the governor El Rufai made a statement declaring that the terrorists should be killed, and he literally had took a vote-based position whereby he was inviting the federal government and the security forces to go all out. We just haven't seen that happen. And ever since then, the terrorists seem, I think it's easy to connect the dots, the terrorists seem to be sending a clear message that they are going to defy every statement. They are not afraid, as you can see from their various actions. They've
Because
attacked
the
the air,
wave of
they've
attacks
shut
that are
down
coming.
the airports,
Mm.
they've shut down the roads, which people could not go by, and now they've attacked the trains. So how are people in Kaduna going to survive? And it's not just a Kaduna thing. Literally, there are flashpoints around Nigeria. I would.
Now, Devo, I
Mhm.
do want to add to this, and I want to get Lakunle's voice in on this because there's a different angle to this story, and it comes from this day newspaper still, and that is, or rather, it comes from Premium Times newspaper, and that is the issue of state police because we have this headline: Senators call for state police and condemn attack on Abuja Kaduna train. And we heard from a Kaduna Senator Suleiman Kwari who called on the National Assembly and the federal government to revisit these talks of state police. We heard from another, who was another Kaduna Senator, Uba Sani, who raised a point of order on the continuing attacks on communities and public facilities in Kaduna State. And luckily, I know that you have been a big advocate of state police, the introduction of state police
Me too.
into the country, both of you gentlemen. And here we have yet another call, or it seems like an opportunity for this conversation to be had once again.
Um, like you said, I've been an advocate of the state police for God knows how long. But of recent, I've been thinking and I've been saying to myself, okay, so if that sounds too outlandish, let me edit that my conviction is not changing, but I'm saying, okay, so we have had a central policing system for since 1914 that Nigeria existed. Okay, so and we are getting the same results, which is not satisfactory. Can we try something else, whatever name we want to call it? Okay, whether it's state police, whether it is whatever they want to call it, let's try something different. Because, like the motivational speakers always say, that if you do the same thing the same way, you should not expect a different result. We have done this for over 100 years, and we're not seeing a different result. We go back to the numbers all over again. We have only 350,000 policemen in this country. About a third of that number are doing sentry and what I jokingly call handbag carrying duties. Another significant percentage of that number is available for hire. So if I have money, I can go to a filling station, I can ask for this.
Now, by the way,
So
Lakane, so that is actually something else that I would love to talk about.
so
Is it about the state police
no,
or
no,
whatever structure, or is it about the numbers
it's
and the fact that we have a lot of people who are not entering the police force despite calls for?
all of those things are things that plays out in what we see. Okay, so United, the United, you see, there's a generally accepted ratio of police to people that is available. I think it's 1 to 250 or something like that. Can we say 350,000 to 200 million? Is it up to? Does it mean that ratio of 1 to 200 or 1 to 250? I think it does not. That means each policeman in Nigeria is possibly policing more than about
400,
four,
400,000.
400 exactly. That's the number that one policeman is doing in Nigeria.
And
So
what can that
that
do?
exactly. So that is the basis of all of this. So let's even say we want to maintain the central police. The first thing to do is to adequately man the organization. If we don't have that, we're going to have this problem. So the Senate, like I always say, they don't need to come to the rostrum and tell us this. The knife and the yam is in their hands. They can cut the yam from wherever they are. They are the one empowered to make laws in this country. They should lobby themselves there. There are governors who are the brunt of this, who we call chief security officers of all the states, and don't have power over the central police as we have it today. Their governors are also there. The governors are in control of their state assemblies. Let them lobby all this so that we can have the 2/3 in the National Assembly and the 2/3 of the states house of assemblies to make this thing happen. It's enough talk. We've talked too much about state police. If we're going to do it, Everything that they need to do is available within their control and can be done.
All right, then let's take a look at this next article. Still on the Premium Times, reps ask NSA and IGP to set up security task force at airports. This is the House of Representatives following the adoption of a motion by Nolim Naji of PDP Anambra at the plenary on Tuesday in Abuja. Naji cited the attack on the staff quarters at the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria at the Kaduna International Airport, where they abducted about 12 people. That was last year. Devo, back to you on this because at this point the question is, what can we do? Do you think this is enough security task force across the nation's airports?
Mm. I think the move by the House of Reps or the National Assembly as a whole is coming rather late, and I don't think it's enough because it smacks of a knee-jerk reaction that after a grave incident happens, then these actions or motions are being moved. And why I say so is that in the motion being moved, you could see how they recounted other attacks that had taken place in Kaduna and other security locations,
Mm.
especially airports, even security like the NDA that took place last year. Now, um, how many are you going to protect? When you start to talk like this, and this is why you call it a knee-jerk reaction, you're saying that they should beef up security. Where shouldn't security be beefed up? Is it in our schools that it shouldn't be beefed up, that they've been abducting our children? Is it in the police stations that have been attacked nationwide? That's the police themselves. Is it in the security locations, both the armories and the different exercises that are taking place?
Mm.
Is it our airports? Is it our ports? I mean, it's just an incredible situation. Like I said, we've seen where we go again, and it seems as if all we're simply doing is we're handling these security breakdown with kids' gloves because we're dealing with how would I call it, a multi-pronged issues of insurgency, terrorist attacks. That's terrorists formerly known as bandits, kidnappers, drugs,
All right,
ritual
then.
killings,
We do need
killer
to take
herdsmen.
some messages because that list can go on for days, Devo, at the rates that we're going. But let's take a look at what you have to say because so many of your messages are coming in. EK Peter says regarding the attack on the train, it is saddening. It's the same old response. It appears that we have a template speech for attacks on Nigerians now and no action. While Shegun says, presidents meet security chiefs. It's just sound bites. He goes on to say all this cannot have continued for all these attacks can't have continued for so long if some powerful people are not involved. So he's talking about vested interests there. Whilst Emeka from Amuo says, as much as I agree with Mr. Amechi that security gadgets be put on the rail lines, how about collaborating with the communities where this train passes through? That's where the intelligence will come from. This will keep happening over and over again if we do not do the right thing. While Samuel from Lekki says, it's really sad what happened regarding the train. There's no safety on our roads, no safety on our rails. Even the airports have had their share of attacks. And he goes on to say, there are no repercussions, no justice, no sympathy. And all of this, ordinary Nigerians are the victims.
Yes, just to quickly add something quickly. The
Like
revolution that
5
Nigerians are looking
seconds.
for is in their minds and not on the streets.
Thank you. Tunji says everything the president said on the Kaduna train attack was said by this same president when similar attacks took place in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. You get my drift. Cliche upon cliche, says Tunji. Whilst
Soundbite.
Fred says the country is in the hands of those who knows what the problems are, but who will not lift a finger to do anything. How long will the marching orders continue to be given? The truth is, our military will do nothing because of the status of these terrorists. Oh, so many of your messages are coming in on this. And let's see who else we have. Olufemi says, do you remember that Dubai uh, sent to Nigeria a list of Nigerians that are sponsoring terrorism? The Attorney General, Mr. Malami, has been sitting on this list. Many people have been shouting, arrest the sponsors, prosecute the sponsors. President Buhari has also not asked the Attorney General and other security agencies to take action against the sponsors. The conclusion is that the government is protecting the sponsors, says Thank you. And we've got more of your messages coming in. Mr. C says, I disagree with Lakonle that the governors are handicapped with regards to security. It's these same governors who nominate ministers, heads of government agencies and departments, ambassadors, and even determine composition and control of political parties. What they need to get stuff done is that to get stuff done that aids their interests, they know what to do. Okay, let's take a look at what other stories we have now. So, moving on, we've got this story in from this day. Akpongbom traders protest eviction notice. Now, the traders are protesting the state government's response to last week's fire outbreak, which gutted Akpongbon markets, in which the government issued a 7-day evacuation order. The traders are saying we have nowhere else to go, and this affects they say many markets and about 20,000 traders. Your thoughts on this, Lakumi?
Again, I would say that um, commiserations to all those who lost properties and means of livelihood in the fire outbreak on that day. But of course, uh, matters of greater good, of community good, supersedes individual good and or losses. All right. Having said that, we all know that open spaces, especially under bridges, are not designated marketplaces. Everybody knows that. We all know that it is not the responsibility of government to find offices or shops lock up or not for you, except in places where government designates as marketplaces. I am sure the Lagos State government never designated under the bridge as a market. People took advantage of our non-enforcement of extant laws in regard of this and gradually turn the place into something that they have turned to a right now. And that's where we have these people openly saying they have nowhere else to go. Before the show started, I was just saying that, look, the people that went to trade fair today, they were somewhere before and they moved to that place. Wherever the government moves you to, because people need your services, they will get to you, they will find you wherever they are. I would just like to appeal to both parties, the Lagos State government, not to back down in relocating them. I also appeal to the traders to go to wherever the government moves them to. Matter of public good, even their own personal safety is even involved in this matter. What if they've all been caught up in the fire and we're not talking? It's because they escaped it that they are coming out, they say they have nowhere to go. I would just like to appeal to everybody to calm down and let us have that place free. Now it's going to
All right.
cost them.
Legal loan organizations. They've also actually reached out to the app stores, Google and Apple stores, to take down some loan apps from their stores. Devo, your thoughts on this?
Well, the FCCPC, that's the Consumer Protection Commission, has been taking action. And in its recent move, the commissioner, that's Mr. Babatunde Irukure, was speaking that they were taking action to address some of those illegal loan apps. Now, apart from shutting down some of their accounts and also going to the platforms like Google and Apple stores, legal loan companies, some of them residing in the country and some of them residing outside the country. And if you remember, many people were complaining about how they were listed as guarantors knowingly or unknowingly, and their names were being put out in the public with text messages and WhatsApp distributions. But we commend the Consumer Protection Agency. We just hope that they will be able to get to the bottom of this in the long run.
All right, let's take a look at this next article. Guardian newspaper says this: over 3 trillion naira loans dispersed to revive economy and create jobs. This is according to the Central Bank of Nigeria governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who yesterday said that the Apex Bank and the participating financial institutions had dispersed over 3 trillion naira in intervention loans to facilitate economic recovery and generate employment opportunities since the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Luckily, would you say that that is something that people have been able to get access to and that we're going to be seeing the benefits anytime soon? Your thoughts?
Actually, this is a very, very good good thing from the CBN, 3 trillion naira.
Mm.
Peradventure, if that money had not been given to people, maybe we'll be talking something more grave than where we are today. Um, but then, okay, so they are supposed to be loans and grants, and I hope that the people who got the loans would repay promptly so that other people can also benefit. Let me also quickly say that congratulations to Ekiti State University. 1982 to now is a long time, 40 years, just like that. And okay, so I hope that Nigeria would continue to benefit from the number of graduates that they are turning out, and I hope they are not on strike like some universities.
Right. Let's take a look at your messages up on youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. Felicia Fatana, I see your message. Hopefully that you are able to hear us now. Whilst Babafemi Onogbeson says, when the righteous are in authority. Oh, he's quoting a Bible verse there saying, yeah, that's, listen, this is a sign of people having to groan and sigh. Whilst Israel says, but really, how did we get here? How much worse can it get than this? Whilst Joy Ukaha says, a bad leader sets you back 50 years. And Felicia, thanks for sending in that quick update. I love it. Okay, we are still taking your messages up on YouTube and up on WhatsApp and up on Twitter as well. Hashtag freshly pressed 981. Make sure you send your comments in. Going back to your messages up on WhatsApp, let's see what you have to say. Lorenzo comes in and says, do state agents not collect tax from the traders under the bridge? Doing that legalizes those spaces as business locations, however we look at them.
But it's corruption.
It does not.
Okay, that's an interesting one. All right, let's take a look at the next story because we've got just a few minutes left. All right, so this one comes in from The Guardian now. Telecoms blackouts imminent in Kogi, Abuja, and 8 other states. This apparently as a result of disputes arising from what the Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria described as unusual taxes and levies demanded by the Kogi state government through its Internal Revenue Service.
Yes, the Association of Telecoms Operators will soon be protesting by way of shutdown of their services against the Kogi State Government Internal Revenue Generation Service, the KIRS, for those who remember that. Now, the taxes they're referring to are the ones that cover right of way, social services contribution, employee economic development levy, and so forth. And basically, every state, I think in this instance, the Kogi State Internal General tax these operators, despite some the larger telecoms bodies and the federal government to bring some sort of harmonization. Because what happens is that this is part of the frustrations that many of them face that or counterproductive to that extent the association said that very soon if the Kogi government doesn't step in they will shut down, and when they shut down not only will telecoms be there'll be a blackout in Kogi state, but literally all the bordering states will be affected like Abuja, Ondo, Ekiti, Kwara, Niger, Benue, Enugu,
Oh, wow.
Anambra, because you know Kogi is
Oh, wow.
a confluent state. So
Okay, very good.
I think people need to really take a closer look at
Take
this.
notice of this.
I
Huh?
think we have a presidential aspirant coming from Kogi in the presence of the governor himself. So you want to start presiding, you need to start now.
Okay, and let's take a look at this final story in from the Premium Times. And regarding 2023, more men have registered for temporary voters cards than women. This, according to the this is
Okay, so the story is just talking about the online voter registration. The director of INEC, Gender and Inclusivity Department, Blessing Obidegu, said that while the male was 6.9, so we only see
million.
it be in the million. The difference is going to be in the millions until I read that. So at this point, we encourage our women to go out there or start online and ensure that they follow the process to have their PVCs and be prepared to vote their choice candidates in all elections from 2023.
Perfect.
I wish all of us all the best.
All right, and let's just end the end the show on and freshly pressed on this final message from Oluwatosin, who says, and this goes back to the market, who says the only reason there's an order for relocation is the fire occurrence. These traders have been paying taxes to different levels of governments for decades. The only thing we're asking for is that government levels do their jobs and stop this lawlessness, says Oluwatosin. And on that note, we end the show. I know you have so much more to say, but say it on Twitter. You can find him at Lakunle underscore 70 underscore. No.
Lakunle 70.
Why am I always putting underscores in people's Twitter handles? At Lakunle 70, and you can find Devo at Devo. Yes, Devo? Yes, at Devo Okore. Yes, that's it. All right, and that is that. Coming up, it is going to be time to talk sports inside the locker room, and that is at 8:15. Do stick with us right here. Love music, love life, love smooth 98.1.
Um,